Tragedy: Becky Lynch's daughter passes away from cancer, leaving her heartbroken. Ladies and gentlemen, the WWE Universe has been shaken to its very core. Wrestling is often a world of scripted rivalries, dramatic betrayals, and heart-stopping action inside the squared circle. But sometimes, reality delivers the most painful blows of all. Today, we bring you a heartbreaking story that transcends wrestling. It's a tragedy that has left fans in shock, colleagues in tears, and one of WWE's most beloved superstars, Becky Lynch, completely shattered. Her daughter, a beacon of hope and joy in her life, has tragically passed away after a brave battle with cancer. This is not a storyline. This is not kayfabe. This is a gut-wrenching real-life loss that has changed Becky Lynch forever. In this video, we will take you through the timeline of this tragedy. The diagnosis, the fight, the support from the WWE family, the devastating loss, and Becky Lynch's emotional response. We'll also reflect on how fans and the entire wrestling world are mourning alongside her. Before tragedy struck, Becky Lynch, whose real name is Rebecca Quinn, had been riding a wave of success both in her professional career and personal life. Known as the Man and one of WWE's greatest trailblazers, she was also balancing another role, perhaps her most cherished one, being a mother. Her daughter, born into the wrestling spotlight, was adored not just by Becky and Seth Rollins, but by fans who watched this little family grow. Becky often spoke about how motherhood gave her a new perspective on life, on wrestling, and on what truly mattered. Interviews showed a softer side of the fiery Irish superstar, talking about bedtime stories, giggles in the kitchen, and how her child gave her a reason to fight harder than ever before. For Becky, her daughter was not just a part of her life, she was the heart of it. But in the cruelest twist of fate, that heart was tested in ways no parent should ever have to endure. It started quietly, small symptoms that any parent might dismiss. A fever here, fatigue there. But when the symptoms persisted, Becky and Seth knew something was wrong. Doctors ran tests, and the diagnosis came crashing down like thunder. Their daughter had cancer. The word itself is enough to terrify any family. For Becky, a woman who had fought through obstacles all her life, this was a battle she never expected to face. Not in her wildest dreams did she imagine sitting in hospital rooms, watching her daughter go through chemotherapy, or praying each night for strength. The WWE Universe, usually seeing Becky as the unbreakable warrior inside the ring, began to glimpse the vulnerable, human side of her. She was no longer just the man. She was a mother in a fight for her child's life. The fight against cancer is brutal, both physically and emotionally. Becky stood by her daughter's side through every treatment, every sleepless night, every painful setback. Seth Rollins, too, was there, juggling his WWE commitments while also being a rock for his family. There were moments of hope, days when the treatments seemed to be working, when doctors gave encouraging words, when Becky posted rare, heartfelt messages of gratitude to the medical staff and fans sending prayers. But there were also darker days, days when the pain seemed unbearable, when the exhaustion weighed heavy, when even the strongest smile couldn't hide the fear. Still, Becky and Seth never gave up. They poured their love into every moment, determined to give their daughter the happiest memories possible. Family dinners, silly games, story nights, and whispered, "I love yous." One of the most beautiful aspects of this tragic journey was the way the wrestling family rallied behind Becky Lynch. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon reached out personally, ensuring Becky had the time she needed away from the ring. Superstars like Charlotte Flair, Bayley, and Bianca Belair posted supportive messages, letting Becky know she wasn't alone. Fans from across the world created hashtags, shared stories of their own battles with cancer, and flooded Becky's social media with love and encouragement. At live shows, chants of "We love you, Becky" filled arenas, as fans recognized that their hero wasn't just battling opponents inside the ring. She was fighting for her daughter's life outside of it. Despite the fight, despite the prayers, despite the best medical care, sometimes cancer wins. In a devastating announcement, it was confirmed that Becky Lynch's daughter had passed away. The world seemed to stop. For Becky and Seth, their hearts were shattered beyond repair. For fans, disbelief turned to mourning. Reports described Becky as inconsolable. Friends say she wept for hours, holding on to memories, clinging to photos, and replaying moments of laughter in her mind. Seth, equally broken, stood by her side, both of them crushed under the weight of unimaginable grief. This was not the ending anyone prayed for. It was the cruelest, most heartbreaking chapter of all. Days later, Becky Lynch released a statement. Her words were raw, powerful, and heartbreaking. She thanked the fans for their support, the doctors for their care, and the WWE family for standing by her. But most importantly, she spoke of her daughter, describing her as the bravest soul she had ever known, a fighter who inspired her every single day. She shared that while her heart was broken, she would honor her daughter's memory by continuing to live with love, strength, and resilience. She asked fans not to mourn forever, but to celebrate the light her child brought into the world. Reading those words was enough to bring tears to even the toughest of hearts. The Last Kicker had always been known for her fiery promos, but this was the most emotional speech of her life. The news sent shockwaves through the wrestling industry. WWE, AEW, and other promotions released official statements of condolence. Superstars flooded social media with messages of love and solidarity. Roman Reigns, himself a survivor of leukemia, posted a heartfelt tribute. Charlotte Flair called Becky the strongest woman she knew. Bianca Belair shared memories of laughing backstage with Becky and her daughter. Fans worldwide lit candles, created artwork, and even organized charity fundraisers for children battling cancer in Becky's daughter's name. It was a reminder that while wrestling often divides people into factions and rivalries, in moments of tragedy, the wrestling world stands united. Perhaps one of the most touching reactions came from Triple H, known as the man behind WWE's creative direction, and someone who mentored Becky through her NXT days. He broke down in tears during a backstage interview. He spoke of how Becky was like family to him, how proud he was of her accomplishments, and how devastated he felt for her loss. His voice cracked as he said, "No parent should ever have to bury their child. Becky's daughter was loved by all of us, and we will carry her spirit forward." Seeing Triple H, a man often portrayed as strong and unshakable, break down in such raw emotion underscored just how devastating this tragedy was. In the weeks that followed, tributes poured in. WWE dedicated segments of shows to Becky's daughter, with video montages celebrating her short but impactful life. Wrestlers wore armbands, commentators spoke with reverence, and moments of silence were held in arenas filled with grieving fans.